Alright. Assalamualaikum and good evening to everyone. Thank you for having your time for this meeting this morning. So today we have Surya Holding Secretary, which is Mr. Faiz, and three committee members, which is the first one is Mrs. Ajmal, the second one is Mr. Amir, and the third one is Ikwan. Alright, so for this meeting, we will continue with the minutes of the first committee meeting of Project Alpha that has been held on March 16, 2018 from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Al Sham meeting rooms. Alright, so for today meeting focus, we will be discussing about the best and the project site will be selected for the Alpha project. Alright, so we will proceed this meeting and I will pass to Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So now I would like to call all community members to present their project. Firstly, we will start with Mr. Amir. Would you please present your proposal for Project Alpha?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman and Mr. Secretary, Mr. Faiz. For the place that I choose to do the project is Bukit Kor. I will do a Jamboree theme park. At this place, we can do such as activity like jungle trekking, jungle survival, and forest camp. And the side of the flat at Bukit Kor, we can do a museum about forests and to encourage and make people in love with nature and environment.
Alright, so that's all.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Amir, for your proposal. So, if there any committee member that would like to ask question, this is your opportunity.
Okay, Mr. May, can I ask you a question? I would like to know about the cost for your project.
Okay, Miss Ajmal, to answer your question, my cost is only around 111 million.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Excuse me, Mr. Amir. May I ask a question? So, my question is, what is the activity that you will do in your in your project?
Okay, Mr. Faiz, the activity I will do in my Bukit Kor Jamboree theme park, just like what I said before, which is jungle trekking, jungle survival, forest camp, and also at the flat side, I will do a museum about forest.
That's a great idea.
Sorry to interrupt the session. So Mr. Amir, can I know what is your community target for your project?
Uh, yeah, Mr. Chairman, to answer your question, the community target that I'll reach is Gen Z, Gen Alpha, and school society like Scott.
Alright.
Mr. Ikwan, do you have any question regarding Mr. Amir project?
Sorry for sorry for interrupt, Mr. Amir. What is the obstacle for your project?
Okay, for my obstacle, I'm doing the project at Bukit Kor, which is you mean this place is very steep and very dangerous. So I think we will hire a tour guide at the place.
Oh, I see.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for your all question, and Mr. Amir, thank you for your proposal. So now we will proceed with our next presenter, which is will be Mr. Ikwan, if you may.
Thank you, Mr. Faiz. For my project, I choose a place where Bukit Belacan, Ampang, Selangor. I have planned if in the place I will make a surviving camp, and here I will explain the benefit and obstacle that occur if I do this surviving camp.
Okay,
Okay.
Mr. Ikwan, you are mentioning about the obstacle. So what are the obstacle?
Among the obstacle are for it also face challenge with its own obstacle. For example, the place for the camp to be built is not strategic because of the uneven ground surface to be used as a building for the management. Next, because the camp is also set up a waterfall, it may result in an accident if not carefully monitored by the assigned security guard, especially if the occupant in the camp have children. In other hand, maybe at night there are wild animals roaming around the camp area as it is surrounded by forest reserve sacrifice for the Islam Valley Highway project, and maybe this area is unmanaged at night also may endanger all those living in the surviving camp.
Okay, I see. Thank you, Mr. Ikwan.
If I may, Mr. Ame, do you have any question?
Okay, Mr. Ikwan, can I know about the cost for the project?
For my project, the cost for my project around 145 million.
Okay.
Okay, that's answer my question.
I think we all in this meeting is very curious about the advantage of your project. So, would you like to explain the advantage of your project?
The advantage that can be gained from the development of this camp is to be able to produce a society that is more independent in doing all things such as cooking to continue living. In addition, be able to form a more responsible society in many ways, because in this camp we will provide an interesting activity involving all parties. Thus, it can train responsible nature in each other. Further, can produce a community that cooperate in doing activities, because after the end of an activity, we will hold a gotong royong activity to clean all the areas involved. This is to apply the attitude of cooperation in the community, especially to the youngest.
Okay, thank you. So before I proceed, Zarif, do you have any question regarding this project, Mr. Econ project?
Alright, so what is your community target for your project?
The target of community for my project is to all community.
Alright then.
Okay, I think that's all for Mr. Ikwan. Okay, thank you, Mr. Ikwan, for your very detailed and explanation about your project. So now we will proceed with our last side, which is Mrs. Ajmal. Would you please present your project?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Faiz. Okay, now, the place that have been chosen for the project is at the old warehouse at the Pasir Gudang, Johor. Okay, after visiting the site, I suggest for project, the company, the Surya Holding, should build an indoor maze park. Okay, the park must have multiple difficulties level. The difficulty level must suitable for all ages. For example, easy levels is suitable for kids, intermediate level is suitable for teenagers, and lastly, difficult level is suitable for adult. This can help all ages to solve the problems. Okay, to make it more fun, the activity must be done in a group. So each members of the group can distribute idea or solution to escape from the park. The activity can build teamwork spirit even though you are having fun. Okay, for my project, I think the indoor maze park can be one of the biggest attraction as the location is very strategic. Okay, for your information, the place is located is not very far from Singapore, Johor Bahru, and Skudai. So we can attract local and foreigner visitor to the place. Okay, I think that's all. Do you have any question?
Alright, so Mrs. Ajmal, as you have mentioned before that the maze activity can be done by many level of ages. So I want to ask, what is your community target for the project?
Okay, thank you for your question, Mr. Chairman. As I mentioned before, the the target community is all ages. So it's mean come from kids, teenagers, and adult. Also, the targets come from local visitor and the foreigner visitors.
Alright.
Okay. Sorry to interrupt, Miss Ajmal. Can I know the biggest obstacle about your project?
Okay, thank you for your question, Mr. Amir. Okay, for my biggest obstacle is uh my place is very small. Is all about 5,600 meters square. So it's not very big. So the biggest problem is a space to make a maze park. So I must make a restriction for each area for each level. That I have 3 level, right? I have easy, intermediate, and difficult level. So the biggest obstacle for me is the space. That's my answer, Mr. Amir.
Okay, thank
If
you
I
for
may
your answer.
interrupt, Mr. Ajmal.
Yes.
So, may I know what is the estimated cost and the estimated duration for your project to be built?
Oh, okay. Oh, forgot to mention about the cost. Okay, alright. For the cost, after make a roughly calculation on renovate cost, building cost, the approximate cost for this project is RM 130 million ringgit. And for the duration for my project to be done is around 2 months because the space is not very big, so the project can be done early. That's answering your question, Mr. Secretary.
Thank you, Mrs. Asma. That is a very detailed question answer.
Thank you. So, do you have any question?
Alright.
Okay. It seems like we don't have any other question regarding the project for the Mrs. Ajmal project. So I would like to continue our meeting by we will be deciding which project will be choosing for our project alpha site project sites. So all of you will be choosing two of the project that will be representing our company project. So you may vote now by raising your hand.
Okay. Sorry, Mr. Faiz, but may I know which project that must be voted for the first?
We all can start with the sequence. We start apa first. We're starting with Mr. Amir, Mr. Ikwan, and Mrs. Ajmal.
Alright.
Okay, so now basically we are going to vote based on Mr. Amir project first, right? Then Mr. Ikwan
Yes, yes.
lastly me, right? So you need to mention the project so we can do a votation, Mr. Faiz.
So Mr. Amir project in Bukit Ko, raise your hand if you are interested in this project. Okay, okay, I ni tu. Okay, secondly, Mr. Ikwan project at Bukit Belacan. And lastly, Mrs. Ajmal project, which is the maze project at Pasir Gudang, Johor. Okay, thank you for your participation. Okay, I have got all your votes, and I can conclude that most of the all the community member has agreed that we will choose Mr. Ikwan project at Bukit Belacan and Mrs. Ajmal project at Pasir Gudang to represent our company project Alpha as the project site, as our project site. Thank you for your participation and congratulations to the project that were chosen. Okay, if I may give to the chairman for any last word.
All right. So I would like to ask, is everybody here do satisfy with the result, as we know the result after the voting session just now? Do you guys satisfy with the result?
Yes, we satisfied with the result, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, we satisfied with the results.
All right. So Mr. Secretary, Mr. Faiz, please take note about the result just now. And I think we have reached to the end of our meeting this morning. Thank you again for having your time this morning. All right, so we can dismiss. You are free to leave. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.